Beautiful hot summer day in Florida, and we're looking for redfish, snook, trout, tarpon, flounder, black drum, anything the beautiful river has to offer to us, we're looking for it. What is up? My dog Lawson here, back in the water after about a month of not fishing. So, quick life update, and we're gonna get into fishing. My wife had our second son about 2 weeks ago. Prior to that, she was on bed rest due to some health conditions and stuff like that with pregnancy. Everyone's good now, but I needed to be home and take care of my family because that's what's most important to me these days is family. And I'm fortunate enough with the YouTube stuff, I was like, I'm gonna take a month or so off, help my wife, help the newborn baby, help my current son Beckham, who's 2 years old now and is a total ginormous handful, but we love him to death. But it is time, and we're back on the water fishing solo. Whew. All right, we're gonna be methodical today and see if we can whack some fish. All right, hot tip for you about hot weather. Now, I don't use my graph or electronics barely at all, but the one thing I do use them for is looking at depth and temperature, and it is hot today. The water temp when I started was 92 degrees. I was driving to a new spot and I went over a little flat that got just a 1.5 feet deeper. Not anything enormously significant, but it went from 92 to 88 degrees. And that type of temperature will hold fish during the summertime. So we're gonna pick up, all right, got this really incredible bait right here that looks so good. That's a mega bass jig head and a Kitech swim bait. That should be a flats killer. Something I'm gonna start doing, I actually took the time to create a online tackle store. Basically just a bunch of links that you can go to in one centralized page. That's all my lures, leader, line, gear, rods, even camera stuff, like anything you can think of that I use to make these videos, from fishing tackle to electronics. I'm gonna put in a little Amazon store link because I have so many people ask all the time, hey, what's your suggestion for this? What's your suggestion for that? And I took the time to write out like, this is really good for this, and the notes of all the different things. So it'll be down in the description, and go check it out. And I'm not gonna act like totally altruistic. It's an affiliate link. So it also helps support me and the channel. If you wanna do it, double cool. Anyways, we're gonna throw this around and see what we can find out. Oh, there's the bump. Oh my God. What a eat. And I'm on. And I am on. What do we have here? Snooklet. That is not what ate right there. I'll tell you that, though. It was a much bigger fish than this. Beautiful little snooklet, not at all the size fish we're looking for today, but on that Kitech and mega bass combo. I mean, this thing just looks too good, too juicy to me. First fish in the boat. Now, everything else should be easy, right? We've got to catch some big fish. Got the monkey off the back, let's catch some big fish. There's another fish right there. Oh my gosh, that is another micro snook, even smaller than the last one. Sheesh, they're chewing this thing, man. Oh my God. There's like one particular spot up there that every time my lure lands, it just gets throttled before I even start reeling. Looks like a decent trout, maybe. No, another snook. All right, I think we're gonna scram. We're only finding pretty little fish here. We need to go find some biggins. Oh, I have like a 14-inch snook on. There's like a 10-inch mangrove snapper underneath them, and then like 4 other snook with them, all around the same size though. This little combo here is decimating them though. Thank you, friend. A little better snook right there. They are just stacked up on this island right here. Not much better. Felt good on the take. If these snook could be converted into, oh man. He just threw up like a mouthful of those pilchards. That is cool, man. All right, let's go catch some big fish. Because they ain't here. This is an interesting bait right here. This is a soft vibe. This is by Nomad Baits. This is a really, really popular type of lure over in Australia. It's actually the first time I ever used one was in Australia. And it's interesting, they basically operate like a lipless crankbait would be if you're bass fishing. Like that's kind of how they're made and how they swim. But you fish them kind of like a vertical jig, or you jig them up and down off the bottom. You don't retrieve them straight. I suppose you can, but you actually snap them really quick off the bottom and you let them sink back down. Oh man, something ate that before I even started reeling on the downfall. Feels pretty heavy. It's hard to tell unless it just hooked weird. It's also a super light setup, but something ate that on the drop. I don't know what this is. It's kind of fighting pretty weird. Really strong head shakes, but not running very hard. Oh my gosh, it's a giant freaking snapper. Oh, there's a giant mangrove snapper and a bunch of other ones just tried to eat the bait out of his mouth. Oh, brother. Woo, baby. We got ice in the box. This sucker coming home. What a stud mangrove. Wow. Absolute stud mangrove snapper on the vibe right there. That is so cool. I'm gonna measure him. I bet he's 12 inches, so he's gonna keep her, but I'm gonna measure him and we're gonna reset and throw back in there because there was like a horde just as big as I'm following. Full stud mangrove right there. I thought he's gonna be like 11 inches just over keeper. He's actually about 13 and a half, 14, so he is good to go. We're gonna throw him in the chest and see if we can maybe catch a few of these for supper. All right, let's run it back. He had quite a few fellas come up with him, and the ones that are coming up with him were just as big and beautiful. So let's see. Mangrove snapper's got to be 10 inches, and I believe you're allowed 5. So yeah, we'll see if we can maybe catch really quick, see if we can catch a limit off this piling. That would be insane on artificial. There's a fish. Feels decent. Feels like it might be another snapper. We'll have to see. This is such an interesting way to fish, nearly slacklining these things, and they're hitting it when it's dropping down. And so you just reel down, all of a sudden you're tight. Another mangrove. I have to measure this one. Another good one though. We're gonna go for the flip, which is scary, but I don't have a net or anything. This one might be bigger than the last one. Whew. Oh, you wonder why they're called snapper. Another keeper mangrove right there. This one measured 13. Dude, this lure might have just changed my life, man. Just smoking keeper snapper here. Get him kind of covered with ice. Shock the system. Out cold. Let's go. That was a hammer. Be a big snapper. Kind of feels like it, but this feels like it's fighting a little harder unless it's just hooked weird. Come on, be the right one. Be the right one. Oh, dang it, the wrong one. The right one, but the wrong size, I should say. Beautiful, beautiful mutton snapper. Unfortunately, they need to be 18 inches to keep, one of the biggest measurements of a snapper that need to be met. Beautiful fish though. And the second he hit, I was like, that's fighting harder than those mangroves. Mutton snapper fight harder than almost anything I've ever experienced. Oh man, look at this. That's so cool. Let me see if I can grab it out. Oh! All right, I gotta get him unhooked. That's what I was trying to say. He just vomited like 5 shrimp out of his mouth onto me. Wow, that is nuts. Part of me always feels bad when a fish vomits up food, you know? Dude, that thing had a mouthful of shrimp. And look how small some of these are. Like that's a tiny little shrimp head right there. Unfortunate. Throw that back over towards the piling and maybe it'll get recycled by some other snapper. All right, let's see if we can keep smoking these mangroves. And once we catch a few mangroves, I mean, I've only spent like 10 minutes over here and I've caught 2 keepers. We're gonna go see if we can hunt down a really big trout or snook or redfish. That's really what I'm trying to do, but if I can take 30 minutes to catch a limit of mangrove snapper to bring home to my family, nothing sweeter than that, man. I'm fishing a very light setup here. This is 10-pound braid, 20-pound fluoro on this setup here, and using a light rod, and it really, really helps feeling these subtle bites from these mangrove snapper here. So I just cast it out. I didn't even have my GoPro on because I was gonna let it drop down and jig, and something hammered it and instantly wrapped me around the piling. I think we're off now, but that was, I thought I was about to get broken off there for a second. I don't know what it is. It's calmed down quite a lot, but when it first ate, my gosh, it was going nuts. Ooh. Another big fat mangrove snapper. GoPro died while I was in the middle of fighting them, but that is a beautiful one. I love, love, love when they get that really cool black mark across their eye. It looks so neat. We're gonna throw him on the tape, make sure he's 10, and then put him in the chest. Like seriously, not all what I expected out today, but you gotta roll with the punches, and when the fishing's good and the river's delivering food right to your line, you take it, man, you take it. What's going on, guys? What's happening? A bunch of little snook and a bunch of actually big keeper mangroves. That's what I'm. Yeah, so you're on right there. You'll come around. That's awesome, guys. Thanks for saying hey. It's cool, man. Yeah, see you guys. Yeah, nice to meet you too. What a bunch of nice young fellas. That's so nice, man. I love, like, if you guys ever see me out in the on the water and stuff like that, always come by and say hi if you want to, man. I always appreciate it. It's always super nice. There's a fish. Oh, what do we got here? What do we have here? Mangrove. Another mangy. Mangrove number 4, 11 inches. Smallest one of the day, an 11 incher. This has been unbelievably good mangrove day. Oh, that got thumped right on the drop. What do we have here? Feels snapper-esque. Can't tell yet. Another mangrove. This might be a short. I have never had this type of success lure fishing, maybe even bait fishing for mangrove snapper. This is the first one, other than I caught one tiny one, but this is a 10 incher, but he's so much smaller than the beefy ones I've been catching. I'm gonna release him, even though he would complete my limit. We'll let him go and see if we can catch one more like beefy one. He was just right at 10. But this lure is insane. Like I almost like feel like I've discovered a hidden secret that feel weird about sharing, you know? But you guys are my homies. You know, I'll share the secrets with you. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm just letting this thing hit the bottom. I'm not even twitching it. It's just hitting bottom and being eaten. I don't even know what this is. What is this? Ooh, freaking skipjack. Missed me with that thing. All right, let me give you a little fish. Oh my gosh, this thing's getting my boat so dirty. A little fish ID lesson here. This thing right here is called a leather jacket. Sometimes I call them skipjack, but this is a leather jacket. These things have some of the gnarliest spines on earth. I've been stuck by one once. It feels like a catfish spine, maybe even a little worse because they're way sharper. And you rarely catch them. I've got stuck by them before when I was undoing one out of a cast net. These are a gnarly, nasty little fish. And I got stuck by one as a teenager, and I remember my entire arm just like radiating numb. This is unfreaking believable. Maybe not small. Might be him. Might be the one. Might be number 5. All right, that's number 5. He was 11 inches. I actually wasn't going to keep him. I wanted to try to hold out for one more stud, but the hook actually on this side of the eye completely shredded his eye. So we're gonna do the ethical thing and keep this. And we are done mangrove fishing. Let's go see if we can catch some other fish. We have transitioned from the mangrove snapper deal to we're gonna fish a deep flat for some trout and redfish and snook. I couldn't tell you the last time I limited out on mangrove snapper, let alone like big inshore mangrove snappers, let alone on artificial lures. That was pretty crazy. I don't know if I've ever had any experience like that, and I don't know if it was just the day, if it was the lure, or we were just dialing it in, and maybe a mix of all three. But man, I am stoked to catch a limit of mangroves. And you guys know me, if you watch my videos, I don't actually keep a ton of fish, so I'm pretty excited to have this limit here to bring home to the family. Anyways, we are on a deep flat, about 5 to 7 feet. Have a beautiful paddle tail right there that we're gonna work in the depths and see what we can pull up. It's still freaking on fire out. It's like 3 in the afternoon, billion degrees. So we're fishing a little deep still, but we're looking for reds, trout, and snook. There's the fish. Nice, be good. That seems big trout-like. Seems very big trout-like. Come on. This is actually kind of scary right now. If this might be a huge trout. It is a good trout. Wouldn't say monstrous, but it is a good one. It is a good one. That's what we've been looking for. Very, very interesting because it's so hot. He ate pretty sluggishly. Like honestly, really, really sluggishly. Ooh, he's a stud. Holy smokes. Holy mackerel. Oh! Oh, don't be shaking your head like that, brother. Oh, he's hooked right in the top part of the mouth. This is a tough land here. Oh, come on, come on, come on. I'm gonna lose this fish. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, buddy. Studly speckled trout right there. I mean, he's probably, maybe he's only 20 inches or so, but I haven't caught a nice trout in a long time, and we're working hard to catch some fish today, man. What a beautiful, beautiful fish. Slow dragging a paddle tail right between 2 islands. Doesn't get any sicker than that. I'm gonna put him on the tape just to see what's up. He's 19. He is in the slot size. We will keep him today. We got a smorgasbord of fish going. We're gonna add to it. I don't keep fish very often, so we're gonna add to it. If he was over 20, I wouldn't keep him. You're allowed 1 trout over 20 inches per day, but I really like to let the big ones go unless they choke or something. But he's 19, so he's in the slot. He's gonna come home with us tonight, man. This has been a crazy cool day. Beautiful, beautiful fish right there. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm not much of a meat fisherman, but there's something primal and it gets your blood going. Even though they're not like giant fish, you know, we're talking about mid-sized mangrove snappers, good-sized trout, but it gets the people going, man. It gets me going. Whew, I'll tell you what, today has been sweet. I was gonna keep fishing. It's only about 4:30 right now, but I don't know if you can tell on the camera because I got real bright. There is a gnarly storm brewing behind me. The wind's picking up, so I think it's time we make our hasty retreat. But it's fine because we got a lot of work to do back at the house to clean these fish. So we gotta head home and get back to the house and start cleaning and maybe do a little bit of cooking.
Once back at the house, it was time to start filleting and cleaning the fish. I had 5 snapper and 1 beautiful trout to go through. And once I had them all skinned out, I was gonna vacuum seal them for the future and then save a few fillets for tonight for dinner.
All right, we are ready to cook some dinner here. It is 7 o'clock, the sun is down, the baby's getting a bath, and we're gonna cook up some pasta and beautiful mangrove snapper, sealed the rest of that fish, and I'm very, very stoked with the amount of yield we got off, you know, a limit of small mangroves and a nice big trout. Couldn't really ask for a more productive day meat-wise on the water inshore. So, we're gonna whip up something real quick. I actually love to cook, and I cook 98% of my meals at home, and my wife's a great cook, but I just love to do it. I'm kind of like late on the game of cooking a lot of fish, even though I really, really enjoy cooking, because when I was younger, I actually didn't really enjoy the taste of fish, even though I was still doing it all the time, and it's just really over the past few years that I've gotten a way bigger appetite for eating fish. So I love cooking red meat, chicken, poultry, anything like that. Now I've been learning a lot more fish recipes, and it's been opening my eyes. So we're gonna make some lemon snapper over a bed of linguine and hope it hits the spot here. Let's get cooking. All right, we're gonna hit a very big, healthy pinch of salt into our pasta water here. This is gonna help just enrich the flavor of the linguine a ton. And we're gonna get that boiling. All right, now it's time to cut up some fresh herbs, a little bit of lemon, and get our snapper prepared. Snapper wise, I actually kept 4 fillets from the 2 smallest ones. I figured those would be the easiest to use tonight for pasta. And then the little snapper fillets, they tend to be pretty delicate and pretty gentle, so it'll be great over a bed of linguine right there. We're gonna get these cleaned up, make sure there's no scales, take out any of the smaller bones, and we're gonna get them sauteing in a pan here in a second.
Seasoning wise, when it comes to fish as simple and as clean and as good tasting as mangrove snapper, less is more. Salt, pepper, butter, and we'll squirt a little lemon juice on it at the end. As I've become a parent, cooking meals is all about going fast. Broccoli going right into the air fryer and basically not gonna think anything else about it. We have some butter that we're gonna cut a few tablespoons and drop them into the pan. And this is what we're gonna cook our mangrove snapper in. Once the water for the pastas come to a boil, we're gonna add a little bit of olive oil to add some flavor and to make sure it doesn't stick to the pot. Oh yeah, shove that in there. I have some fresh herbs from my garden, just some Italian oregano and basil, and then we're gonna throw some dried parsley in as well. I just don't have any fresh parsley.
We are gonna start on our snapper. I got 3 tablespoons of butter here that we're gonna drop into the pan. And cooking small mangrove snapper fillets, I like to just cook them as gently as possible. You know, there's not a ton of structural integrity there because they're a small little fillet, and so cooking it on a medium heat, a little bit of butter, salt, pepper. We're gonna throw some of those fresh herbs in. We're gonna make a lemon butter sauce to go over top of the whole thing. Should be just dandy.
This, like I said, the snapper is so delicate that they've been in this pan for less than a minute. You can already see how white and how much color they're getting around the edges. So medium heat, a little butter, salt, pepper, like it doesn't need a ton.
All right, I'm intentionally keeping this about as simplistic as I possibly can, but here's our one important step here. So we're gonna save some of this pasta water from our linguine because it's gonna help us make our lemon butter sauce. Now, I am not a recipe guy. Like this isn't, I'm not following a recipe. I am a believer of learn the fundamentals of cooking and a bunch of different concepts, and then you can apply them to everything. And that might start with learning recipes, but for me, it's a lot of like learning how to make sauces, learning how to properly cook fish, learning how to, you know, as goofy as how to blanch vegetables, how to do all that type of stuff. And then it makes everything way easier. All right, we are going to turn that off, strain our linguine. And I do believe it's time to flip our fish. All right, here's kind of where the whole dish is gonna come together. We have pulled the snapper out and we dropped the pan that the snapper is cooking in down to low, medium low. It's still a little hot, and we're gonna add another tablespoon of butter in there. It's not really necessary, but a lot of that kind of cooked up into the snapper. And if you were trying to make this a little healthier, I suppose, just use less butter or go straight oil. But I mean, you could argue that eating butter is healthier than eating vegetable oil and that type of stuff. All right. We have butter in there. We're gonna grab a spoon, tablespoon, whatever. Like I said, I'm an eyeballer. And we're gonna basically put 2 tablespoons of flour in to this saucepan of butter. And we're essentially making a roux or a pan sauce that's gonna be the foundation of this lemon butter sauce. So we're gonna take a small rubber spatula and just incorporate that into here. That is thickening into a little paste. And what we can do, instead of, you know, adding dairy like milk or something like you do in a sauce like that, we're gonna slowly stream in some of our pasta water, which essentially, from what I understand, because it has so much starch in it from cooking the pasta, it acts like a thickener. And we're just gonna keep stirring that and stirring it and stirring it. And in a moment here, once we get a consistency that we're gonna start adding our lemon in, and we're gonna add a bunch of our fresh herbs. And then we're gonna toss our pasta in this and place our fish over top. And also doing this in the same pan that we cooked the snapper in, there's gonna be a ton of flavor from that fish. Now, if you think it's gonna be too fishy of a taste for you, you could just do it in a totally new pan if you really wanted to, but it seems like a good waste of flavor and all that fond you got sticking to the bottom of the pot. Because when you pour in this pasta water, it basically deglazes the pan and pulls all that flavor into your sauce. There we go, we're getting there, we're getting there. So you want it to be almost runny because it needs to be able to coat through all the pasta sauce. You don't want this to be like the consistency of a cheese sauce. You want it to be really, really smooth. And when we get towards the end of it, if you really, really want to, which is what they'd probably do in a restaurant, is they would take butter and then finish the sauce with butter to make it even creamier and silkier smooth. But I don't think we'll do that today because 4 tablespoons is enough butter to cook 2 little snappers. Sprinkle in some of our fresh herbs here. And now it's time to start squeezing in some of our lemon juice. Right here we have a herb butter lemon sauce, and that consistency is what we are talking about. Ooh, daddy. God, that's so freaking good. All right. And there we have it, mango snapper on top of a bed of linguine, tossed in a lemon, butter, fresh herb sauce, and a side of broccoli there. Doesn't get much simpler, doesn't get much better. A little feast from the river, and I'm gonna go serve this to my wife, who's been waiting patiently for me to be done filming. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, like, subscribe, all that type of stuff. And if you enjoy the Catch and Cooks, let me know. Let me know if there's something I should try or do. It's kind of whole new uncharted territory for me. I love to cook and don't do it quite enough, so maybe we'll see more of it in the future. Until next video, guys, peace.